welcome back to the Whatnauts Reactor Core. My name is Kyle Springer, and I am joined by Ignacio Rojas. Ignacio, how are you?
Hey, I'm good.
Doing good. Is your heart pounding? Are you still riddled with anxiety after watching The Last of Us episode 1?
Man. And what a good first episode for the show. Let me tell you.
It was. Man, I still feel like I am tense. Even though I know the story, I know where it's going. I just like that was great. That was brilliant. And so yes, we are here to do our reactions to HBO's The Last of Us. We will be here week in and week out talking about the show. And I have to say, I think they are off to a great start. They're off to the races. Ignacio, so what's your history with the video game? Let me ask you that first.
My history with the video game is that I played it when it came out, and I replayed it since on PS4. I replayed it once more after that for part 2. I started the remaster of part 1, but I thought that it was already too much. But The Last of Us is my favorite game of all time. My serious answer for a favorite game of all time. You know, my other favorite game of all time.
Exactly.
But yeah, it is my
Ball Z bullshit.
Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. But yeah, The Last of Us is my favorite game of all time.
I gotcha. Yeah, it's definitely up there with one of my favorites. I know some of the creators were out there being like, it's the greatest video game story of all time. And I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, but it's one of the best for sure. Yeah, the original game came out in 2013. They've remastered it. They've remade it. They've made part 2. They've made this sequel. So if you guys did not know that it was a video game and you want to go check it out, now is the perfect time to do that. And yeah, it's a very emotional story. It's one that I think leaves you thinking, did these characters do the right thing? Did they handle this situation correctly? Was this too much? Did they go too far? Right. So yeah, I think we are in for a wild ride. I'm interested to see what kind of changes they make. I know there's been some things already out there just from like interviews and casting news, little small changes. But I'm interested to see how they weave in some of the story in new places from the video game. But yeah, off to a great start. What did you think of Sarah? Let's start with her.
Oh, she did a great job, and she did a great job to the point that I know we all know how the game goes, but she does such a great job that you think, oh, she is one of the regulars. She is part of the core group, and then of course that was never gonna happen. But she did a great job. She was great.
Yeah. I what I liked is that we got to spend more time with her in the video game. It kind of starts with her waking up on the couch and Joel comes back and she's like, "Hey, it's your birthday. You're late. I got you something for your birthday. Here's the watch." But in this, we get to spend the whole day with her. And so, yeah, she does end up feeling like more of a character than what we got in the game, even though that opening 20 minutes of the game is still heart-breaking. But that's also like, now I am curious to see if they will use her in flashbacks throughout the show. I would kind of like to see that a little more instead of just kind of, well, she's dead. That's it. That's all you get. Would love to see some more of that, but yeah, even in this show, the like opening 20 minutes or so is almost just beat for beat what the game is, and it's kind of wild.
Yeah.
Immediately when she gave him the watch and he was like, "Where did you get the money to do this?" I said the line at the same time. I was like,
Yeah.
"Drugs. I sell
Drugs.
hardcore
Hardcore
drugs." I love it. I love how sassy she is because that immediately endears you to her. And then
Yeah.
when she gets shot, it's just like, oh no, we're in for a bumpy ride. um, so yeah, rough stuff there. With guess the like one of the big changes that I heard some podcasts talking about this past week or so is that they are getting rid of the spores in the video game. That was how the virus, the fungal infection, was
Fungus.
passed on, right? It was these spores. Now it is more of a traditional zombie thing. If you get
Yeah.
bit, then you change into one, because I think Pedro Pascal had it in his contract that he didn't want to have to wear the mask, especially after being
I mean,
the
who
Mandalorian,
would
right?
put that man in a mask?
I mean, look, he's a good looking guy, and so it's understandable, right? I'm just like, let's not have him at a mask, but also like they're not in the spores all that much. Like every
Yeah.
once in a while, there's a tense scene, but it's not like the whole time he's in some mask that you can't see his face. But they are changing that. How do you feel about that change?
Of course, I would prefer for the sports to be still there. I like the idea of the sports being these kind of like immediate danger right in front of them,
Yeah,
to the point that something could go wrong and they are just there surrounded by the fungus, and something can happen. I don't know, their mask gets broken or whatever, or if they can get surprised by the spores appearing out of nowhere. And I also like the moment in the game where Ellie tells Joel and Tess that she is immune, but then they go into the spores and then you get the shock of, yeah, Ellie isn't
she
wearing a
really
mask
is.
and she's okay.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
that's one thing that's gonna be missing.
yeah. Like I think the spores could be an interesting like visual like source of tension and
Yeah.
stuff, because there was one scene when they were walking around those dusty buildings in Boston and they like move the dresser and you can see all the like dust particles in that light, and it's just like that, like they could have done stuff with that, like that would have been so sweet. And yeah, you're right, like someone's mask gets cracked or something, it's just like, oh no, this is no good. But yeah, I think it's okay just to kind of simplify things there. It's not a change that I super mind, but I'd have liked to see them do something with the spores. Let's see. Let's talk about Tess. What do you think about Anna Torv playing Tess?
Oh, she did a great job. She is as much of Tess to me now in the first episode than she ever was in the game. She really captured what Tess was. And I like that for the show, for what we've seen, is that they are giving not necessarily context, but adding on to scenes that we see in the game.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
when we first see Tess, it is when she gets to Joel and they get the talk of, hey, someone jumped to me. They took the guns and whatever. But in the show, you get a scene previous to that where she is talking about that to to the guy. I like how the show is doing that, adding to what we already know from the game.
Yeah, which I think will only help the show because it adds to the characterization and how much we know of their personality, how they deal with situations, why they might deal with them a certain way, stuff like that. So I'm a big fan of that actress Anna Torv. I loved her in Fringe. And then she's in Netflix's Mind Hunter, and she did fantastic in both of those. So I'm happy to see her in this. And yeah, like I like that she also kind of feels like she's the one in charge, like between her and Joel. Like he still really cares for her and is able to like make those smart decisions and stuff. But there's just something about her character that I feel like Joel goes to her to look for, like, all right, what should we do here? So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing more of her. What about Ellie? Bella Ramsey as Ellie. What do you think?
Again, great casting. She did a great job being Ellie here. The attitude that Ellie has, I think that she portrayed it very well here with the scenes that she was given. I really like her portrayal.
Yeah. Just
Yeah.
absolutely right off the bat with the fuck yous and the this and the that and the man, the moment she jumps out at the door at Joel, he just throws her against the
Yeah.
wall. It was great. I loved that. Yeah, I really enjoyed that stuff. Did you happen to watch? So at the end of this episode, they did some like behind the scenes stuff after the credits. Did you happen to watch that stuff?
No, I heard that there was something like that, but no, I didn't notice that.
It's not an end credits scene or anything like that. It's just like a trailer of like coming up on the season of The Last of Us, and then they had some real quick kind of like behind the scenes interviews, and they were talking about the difference between Ellie and Sarah, and how when Sarah sees Joel, I forget her name, just completely smack the old woman in the head with the wrench, that Sarah is shocked and stunned and cries. Like, that's it. She just is terrified. And then when Ellie sees Joel beat the Fedra soldier to death, I love that scene, because you see her just like poke out around the side and be like, oh shit, okay, Joel, like, all right. But like they used the word that she was activated, that she saw someone come to her defense, and that she liked it, that she liked this feeling of like someone saving her and standing up for her. And I think that's an interesting thing to note there, that I liked, because that one scene, yeah, she just like, he starts hitting the dude, and she just like steps out like, let me get a better look at this is cool. So yeah, I'm excited about all of that. I'm excited to see what happens down the road. I liked that there was that little like smuggler's code between Joel and what's his name, Bill, who's gonna be coming down the road. Nick Offerman is playing him.
Yeah, Bill. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I feel like that wasn't really in the game. I don't think they had met Bill before. No. They weren't familiar with him.
No, Joel knew Bill. They had done work together before.
He did,
but you didn't have the element of the the whole radio thing wasn't a thing in the game, so there was no real communication with them. But yeah, when Joel goes there to look for Bill, because he knows that Bill has a car and Bill can help them. He had done stuff with Bill.
Yeah, he was like, yeah, I know someone. He's a little out there. Yeah. Just let me do the talking. So yeah, I did like that they had their little like smuggler's code thing going on. Man, yeah, I had a blast with this. I am excited to see more of the, I don't want to call them zombies, but everyone is just basically gonna call them zombies.
Yeah.
I want to see more of that, more of the infected, more of the clickers. When they went into that one building, and there was that one dude who was stuck on the wall that was so infected, he was stuck on that wall. one of the tensest moments in the show for me as a player of the game, because you will say stuff like that and they will pop out of the wall, and it terrifies me every time. So yeah, I was sitting there like, oh, it's gonna move, it's gonna jump out. So yeah, I am preparing for the worst of this, in the sense that I know I will be terrified, I will jump, I will be crying, I will be scared. I think the characterizations so far have been spot on, but I'm excited to get to see what they do down the road.
Yeah. What did you think of the opening scene? Because that's new.
It's yeah, it's kind of new. It was interesting that it was so far in the past to me. It was like we're in the 1980s or what have you, right?
60s.
60s, man. Because I think in the game we do get like similar news broadcast things happening of like, oh, there's this new disease out there we're studying, it's happening, oh my god, it's spreading, oh my god, it's spreading, like so we get some stuff like that. I thought this was interesting. This felt in a weird way kind of like Watchmen to me, if you've read that comic or seen that movie or anything like that. They do, when they discover Dr. Manhattan in that comic, there are these like news broadcasts of like, well, how will this change the world and stuff like that. And it kind of reminded me that I'm interested to see then if that doctor or a kid of that doctor comes back somehow down the road, if that is gonna be something they weave into the plot. I'm not sure. It just felt interesting that it was in such a time period that was so much farther back.
No, I personally really liked it because, for one, it served a purpose of grounding this. Mm-hmm. The doctor does make a very good argument as to how this would happen, why it would happen. Yeah, it wouldn't be a virus. It wouldn't be a bacteria. It would be fungus. Fungus would be the most appropriate candidate for something this bad to happen. And yeah, it couldn't happen with the current temperature, but global warming is a thing, and all that. I really like how they grounded it and they made it make sense. And I think the setting of the 60s makes sense, thinking about it, as the 60s was kind of like this period of scientific, I don't know how to explain it, but I feel like the type of scientific research and the way they were looking at things does fit very well in the 60s.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I personally do not expect the doctor or was his son or whatever to appear again in the show. I just think that it was a very good way to ground it, because most zombie stuff is very much, hey, zombies are a thing right now. Something happened to some evil corporation or whatever created them. Never go further into it, but you already have that in The Last of Us. It is based on the cordyceps, which is a real thing. And so this just further grounds that in reality, as is something that could really happen. And also, shout out to the actor. He was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So great seeing him.
There you go. Yeah, it's an interesting move for sure. I do agree with you that it grounds it, but it is a different take. Like, one of the things that I appreciate about The Walking Dead is that they are not explaining it, period. Like, the only thing they really know is that, like, they don't know if it started as a virus or if it started at like some evil corporation like, they don't go into explaining how it actually started. They have learned some things about it that has helped them to survive, right? But the reasoning that Robert Kirkman gave for not going into that is he says it's the the fear of the unknown that makes it scary. And once you explain it, and it's just like, oh, it's just that. It's a virus.
Mhm.
It's a evil corporation. And he's not necessarily wrong, but I think in the case of The Last of Us, they do explain it at the start to kind of get it out of the way and be like, all right, yes, there will be zombies. It is like this thing. That's not really what this is about here. It is about the journey that Joel and Ellie take and their emotional back and forth here and what happens to them. Once we can focus more on the characters, then I think that's what's like, all right, here we go. We can focus on that.
But still, in the game, it was always a known quantity. Everyone knew that it was it was a cordyceps bacteria and all that, and everyone knows, hey, spores will do it, a bite will do it. All you need to do is just wear a face mask or keep away from them. And then, since it is a known quantity, that's how they then get into the whole, oh, Ellie can be a cure. We can get a cure from her because we know already how it works. We know then that she's immune. There's something in here. So the fungus that was the fungus has always been a known quantity in The Last of Us. So having it already be a known quantity, I like that they made it an even better known quantity rather than stuff in reality.
Do you have any concerns going forward? Do you have any things on your wish list, hopes that they do, or things that you want them to explore down the road?
Not really. I guess my only quote unquote concern, being a fan of of the video game, is I'm always comparing it to the video game. So them doing something drastically different with the show is kind of a concern to me. But so far they are sticking very closely to it, except for some few things. The whole Tommy thing is the biggest thing that they have changed in the first episode. Tommy, Joel having communication with Tommy, where as in the video game, he lost all communication with him for a while. But other than that, no. Again, that was the only big change. The other changes were very minor. Like I said below, that one would be them changing why they take Ellie to the Fireflies, whereas in the original one it was them wanting their guns back, whereas now it is them wanting a battery. And a small nitpick is that I prefer the original explanation, because here it felt very much like what's her name, the Firefly leader, Marlene.
Yes, she
just came up with the solution out of nowhere. And yeah, that's true for the video game too, but here it is very much Joel and Tess believe that she tells them, hey, you go there, we can give you whatever you want. I'm sure that the people over there that receive you will give you the card that you want.
See, that and I think that they suspicious to me.
They just took her on her word very easily, whereas at least for the game, you have, first of all, they know that the guns are there. Tess goes there to see that the guns are there, and also their guns are already in the. They are close by. They are there. It's just held up somewhere. The Fireflies are holding them. So to me, the explanation in the show, it is very. They are trusting her way too much that they are going to get what they want.
They kind of have no choice, because they weren't dealing with Marlene right away. There was that one guy that was trying to sell the car battery to both sides, and that's how they ended up meeting, right? Which I like that, because it does make for this like desperate choice of just like, shit, Fedra's about to be here in a sec. I don't like you guys, but I know you can get the job done. I need you to do this thing. And so there is this level of like distrust of just like, what are you sending us out to do here? What's going on? What's up with this? That I do like and enjoy. But yeah, you're not wrong
I don't
there.
know. I think that if they're going the car explanation, it would have been better for Marlene to already have a car there or a battery that works and whatever, and have again, like in the game, Tess go look at it and confirm that they actually do have it. So let's do this job and we'll get it.
Yeah. One thing I am not concerned about is them changing the ending, how the first video game ends. I think they will stick with that same ending there, because that is what sparked so much discussion.
Yeah.
Of whether or not we like these characters, if they did the right thing or not. And I think changing it would almost do the story a disservice. I guess my one concern is like, how, like, is a season 2 guaranteed? If not, then I could see them changing. But yeah, I feel like it is, especially with the pedigree of the games, with Craig Mazin on this project, I think this will be a hit. I think this will knock it out of the park.
Yeah, I think for sure it will be here.
So I hope we get a season 2. I hope that's all we get, if that makes sense. I don't want them to like try and prolong it, right? Well, maybe they can do like a reunion movie or something. I don't know. But they made a Deadwood reunion movie, right?
Didn't Neil have an interview recently where he kept the possibility of Last of Us 3 Part 3 open?
He's mentioned that a couple times. Yeah.
If they do that, then you would have it very open
to
be able to do
goes,
season 3.
But again, that's the thing, is I feel like if they do decide to go with a part 3, they'll run into the same problem that Game of Thrones ran into and Full Metal Alchemist ran into, where the show caught up to where the source material is, and they either had to like make up an ending, which was complete bullshit, or they
from what I hear, the one for Full Metal Alchemist is very out there.
It's not it, like, I get how someone would have gotten there, but yeah, it's not good. Thank goodness we have Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. But yeah,
I think that if they do a season 2, they don't need to go have season 2 be part 2. They could do something in between. I think they could very easily have something in the between time between part 1 and 2.
Though as controversial as this first game is, that second one is even more so. We're not controversial, but divisive.
No, it's very divisive to the point that
it's polarizing. I
didn't enjoy it that much. I didn't see it,
and I love
in the same way. I don't have it,
but still, like that's the thing, is like they did leave it open. There is a possibility of a third one. I kind of hope we don't get a third season of this show. They just do the 2 seasons, just adapt the games, and that's it. And then if the game wants to do its own third one, they can do that. But I don't think we need a third season of the show. But that's just me, and that's only having seen episode 1. So
we'll see how it goes when we get it. I mean, they could very well change the ending of the first season, which I'm with you. I hope that they do not do that, because that ending is so great because of how polarizing it is. But my fear is that since it is that polarizing, that they would be tempted to change it.
Yeah. Especially since they've had a decade of time to think about it and rethink it, and like, how can we make more people enjoy this thing here? And I just, man, it sparked so much discussion and so much back and forth. Did they make the right call? Did they not? All that stuff. So I'm excited. I think they're off to a good start. I cannot wait for next week to watch more. I'm excited. excited indeed. That is about it, I think, for our reaction to The Last of Us. So we will see you all next week. Ignacio, where can the people find you on the internet?
They can find me on Twitter at Ignacio Rojasb. That's IGNACIOROJASB.
There you go. You guys can find me at Yo Kyle Springer. And if you guys would like to stay up to date with all of the stuff that we do here at the Whatnauts, we are, of course, at the Whatnauts. So please go like, share, and subscribe. That would help us out a ton. You guys know the deal with all of that stuff. If you're watching the YouTube version of this, go check out one of our other videos right over there. That would help us out a ton. And this has been number 98 of the Whatnauts Reactor Core. We will see you all next time. Bye.
Bye.